Welcome to Generation Dan. You've just been handed the career change card in the game of life. Now, are you going to make a lesbian couple or not? I'm Atlas Novak. I'm your millennial. Who else is here with me?
I'm Dino, the genetic marvel, and I am immediately confused as to where this conversation is going to go. But
I don't know. But
I mean, it should be interesting, at least.
Josh Ogle's back. How's it going,
Hey, it's
What's
going
happening?
well. Good to be here. I am also a millennial, just for full disclosure purposes.
Oh God,
That tends to be the majority of our guests.
I love this. Joey's like, I'm going to change careers from deadbeat to deadbeat loser. I mean, I feel like that's a move up from where you are, Joey, but still, I like your style. Only difference is now I never hide the fact I don't intend to pay you back money.
The losers. Okay, I love this. Jim goes, good afternoon to God afternoon.
God afternoon. Good afternoon. I feel like we're missing a 3-0 good. Like, good afternoon. I feel like that's only fair.
Yeah.
Berto,
It's a Sunday afternoon, you know? So,
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. And we're talking,
I'm house sitting for my in-laws, which explains the change of background. But if they ever, watch or listen to this show, they're going to be like, "You recorded a podcast in our dining room?"
Yes, I did. Listen, if I've ever seen a focal wall, you're standing in front of it, so that's on them. It's not
all backdrop. Yeah,
it's all Disney attractions. It's all
that's weird. That's weird shit. But I mean, you're essentially, if you put that as like your Tinder profile pic with that wall, you're like streaming to a specific group of women.
Yeah,
and it's not going to go well.
And depending where in Southern California you do that, you're getting laid. Like, right, Josh? The Disney adult woman.
Yes, they exist, and there's lots of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I went to UC Riverside. They were goddamn everywhere. Yeah.
They exist even in Arkansas. There's.
I have a weird question. It's like non-gender or non racially biased. Like it's just women, right? It's not just Asian women, or like it's just
women.
Women. I mean, there are Disney men too.
That's true. It crosses
and then,
all.
Then they fight each other.
No, there are Disney boys. There are Disney boys. There are no Disney men. Thank you very much. Okay, Josh. Let's just stop it right there.
I mean, that's something of a lost boy myself, you know.
So, Josh, I teach a film study class at the high school I work at, and I just showed my students Thelma and Louise. Now, you being from Arkansas, what do Arkansans? Arkansans. What do they think of Thelma and Louise?
Even more weird. Arkansans?
Right?
What the hell?
I mean, it's people from Kansas are Kansans, right?
I guess so.
I've never given them a thought, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has.
Yeah, I honestly, I've never really conversed about anyone about Thelma and Louise. I've seen it, not in a while, but I've seen it. But yeah, I don't know that we.
Because the movie starts there. They're from Arkansas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, because for people who live in a location and then a movie is made that either takes place there or is about that place, you then have people getting an opinion about.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Sling Blade? It's exactly like that in Arkansas. They nailed it.
French fries.
Because they filmed there.
Oh my God. So, you are engaged to Kayla Esmond, who has also been on the show recently.
That is an accurate statement of fact. Yes, we are engaged and looking forward to getting married very much. Yeah.
Awesome.
She's been on the podcast before. You guys all know how funny she is. Yeah. So
she definitely beat Josh up. No question.
Oh no question. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. It's okay. Hey, Atlas's wife beats him up too.
Okay. Hey. Did she tell you the story about the engagement?
I don't think so.
So I did it on the Ferris wheel at the Santa Monica Pier, like right at sunset. Like timed it to the minute. Bought tickets for the
Magical.
Ferris wheel in advance. But when I got home from the office that day, she was like folding laundry and watching a movie, and she was like well into the movie, so I couldn't be like, "Hey, get up off the couch and start getting ready. We got to go." I had to be very chill while I was freaking out about the fact that 13 going on 30 was running long and was going to mess up my proposal plans.
Jennifer Garner has ruined a lot of proposal plans for people, and I'm basing that on nothing, by the way. Film study class sounds like you watch movies with Atlas until you move boxes for Amazon for the rest of your life. There's a chance that could be a thing. And if any of my students are watching, go to trade school. That's what you learn from
that. Don't worry about thinking. Go learn a skill, kids. Thinking, save that for later.
Learn whatever you want. It's not going to matter. Generative AI is going to replace all of us, and robots are going to replace the rest of us. So learn what you want.
That's why you be part of the revolution, so that we can just hang out and do what we want while robots do the stuff.
I personally welcome our new robot overlords, and I feel like they're going to do a great job. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you. Keep me alive. Okay, there you go.
How much?
I'm just playing the odds, people. I'm playing the odds.
Yeah.
Okay?
For those who don't know, Dino is a big fan of pictures with people's hands that have 12 fingers. So that just works out for him.
I mean, how many fingers are there? I don't know. That's fair. That's one of those things.
Okay, so you did it on the. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting somebody on the.
Did you get there though? Like
for the Santa Monica Pier? Yeah.
We did make it. It was perfect. Like we were in line as the sun was disappearing down behind the horizon, and we were on the wheel like just as it dipped below. And I didn't like pay anybody off, but he just happened to stop it perfectly. We were out. Really, the only thing you could see was the ocean on the horizon. And here's the best part. I pulled out the ring to pop the question, but because of my jeans, the only place I could keep the ring where it wouldn't show I had a ring box in my pocket was in my sock. So I had to pull the ring out of my sock on the Ferris wheel to propose.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Josh,
like,
yes,
I would have said,
this
I would have
ring
said
really stinks.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah.
But
so,
did she question what was going? Like, if I was.
Not really, because
I'm from California, and if somebody went, "Let's go on the Ferris wheel," I immediately thought they're going to kill me.
It was one or the other, and Josh was like, "Hey, she could say yes, or she says no, and then it's a different path."
Well, she was going to say yes or have an awkward ride down alone, right?
Alone. Yeah. You're either you're gonna say yes or you're gonna have questions for the police. That's what's gonna happen.
The answer is no. Understandable. Have a great day. Jump.
Yeah.
Now, of course, she's not gonna say no because of the implication. But shout out, Sonny.
Geez, now I'm wondering, like, if I had proposed to Katie and she said no, then it would have just been me in a classroom full of kindergartners. And her and the other teacher just being like,
I mean, that would have been cool. That would have been cool. If she's like, "I told you not to come to my work. What are you doing here?" And you're just like,
and the kids are just like, "Mister, what's psychic damage?" And you're like, This is psychic damage.
This is your trauma, kids. We got it out early. You don't have to worry about it. This will haunt you forever.
That'd be amazing.
We're just happy it worked out, and we're very excited for you guys to get married.
3 times the work and half the pay. That's about it. Yeah.
I don't even know what he's referring to at this point.
I mean, so many things. That's fine. Propose in a time machine. It's cheaper than a divorce. Nice, Jim. Nice. It's classy.
I have an attorney's license, so I can do my own divorce. Thank you very much. Although it's probably like those project videos where it's like, I could build that for 3 times the money and twice the time. That's how my divorce would go when I did.
Yeah, you're like Ted Bundy defending himself. They're like, "What are you doing?"
Exactly.
Hey.
So
God.
yeah, the topic for this episode was changing careers, i.e.,
Yeah.
that card you get in the game of life where you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yes.
Nothing matters.
Also factually true.
Exactly.
So like, what was the first job you guys all worked as people?
So the first full-fledged job I had was being a bankruptcy attorney. I mean, that's I was done with school, out of school. I was being a bankruptcy attorney. That was my first like
How
career.
is that on like the ranking of attorney jobs? How does that is that like the bottom or like close to the bottom?
Is there like a shit list for attorneys? I thought attorney was
Of
just like,
course, there's a shit list at every job. Come on, Atlas. Guy would think grow up, okay? You're an adult now. You just have to fucking know.
I would say you know, there's probably a lot of people who hear that I used to do bankruptcy and probably have like some preconceived notions. You know, there's not a lot of money to be made. It is sad, but you get to help people in a lot of ways, which is great. And you know, it's one of those legal jobs where, like, at the end of the day, you you don't necessarily have to take the problems home with you, like maybe a
Yeah.
criminal defense attorney would or something like that. But yeah, so
That's
goods and
fair.
bads.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a more noble type of being a lawyer, or
And I don't think most people probably see it that way until they find out that, you know, I'm fighting against, you know, shitty debt collectors and creditors, attorneys, things like that.
Yeah.
But
You're a good man doing a bad thing. That's basically what you are. You're like, I mean,
it's a job that needs to exist, you know? Yeah.
it's listen, it's the same idea is that, you know, everyone deserves to have representation, right? Because the law has become complex and there are a lot of things that surround that idea. So it's, you know,
Yeah.
there has to be both sides, and you know, it's good to have one lawyer not be retarded. You know, like let's start.
I will say it is interesting. There were some, you know, pro se debtors in bankruptcy representing themselves, and some of them do the research and get really savvy, and you know, they're going into court and winning
Yeah,
hearings against licensed attorneys, and it's you
they're
know,
pulling up my cousin
there's
Vinny.
both extremes. I mean, there's
yeah,
there's the sovereign citizen types, and then there's the you know.
Jeez. Sovereign
I
citizen
mean,
types. I have the same kind of hatred I have for libertarians. Like, just be less stupid. You know.
Yeah. The Uniform Commercial Code is not getting you out of any criminal charges. Okay.
yeah. Well, listen, that
Uh,
the idea. Well, I'm so yeah. Oh God, please
buddy,
no.
no.
Just stop. Like I don't like, and the worst part is it's when they do heinous shit. You're like, bro, listen, for little nothing shit, maybe you'll get some. So okay, yeah, fine, you're a sovereign citizen. Okay, you know. But they're like, oh no, I'm not gonna pay taxes ever again. You're like, yeah, you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna pay
You
in the
can you
form
can
of your property.
yeah.
It's okay.
You can actually get away with a lot as long as you're willing to pay your taxes. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
I mean that's yeah. As long as you pay, as long as you quarter to the butcher, you're still allowed to function in society.
The fact
As
that
soon,
it was
you
the
know?
tax man that eventually took down Al Capone is the key to not fuck with the IRS. That's the
Yeah.
lesson.
It's and you know what though? That's the inherent problem is you're like, oh, we saved the country. You're like, you're the biggest snitch. Shut the fuck up, okay? That's IRS is the worst. Okay, that's the problem. That's the real problem. Let's be honest. Remember, your country went to war over 1%, and now what do you have? Garbage.
I would love to see them audit some places and maybe get a
Oh,
little stricter with their definition of churches.
Me too. That would be super
I mean,
cool.
listen, but that's the whole problem behind this whole idea of changing careers and trying to follow what you love because you're like it following normal paths. Like I worked at a bank. That was my first like real adult job, and I'm like Yeah, and I worked there for 15 years. Like, and I was like, yeah, I just fell out of love with it, and I'm like, this is a horrible thing. You're all horrible people. I don't want to do
Mm.
this anymore, right?
Yeah.
And but like at the same time, you're like, oh shucks, there's horrible people everywhere. Oh, shame on me. I don't know. Very peculiar.
My like I started doing stand up when I was 17, so the idea for me was just have whatever job to get me through. And then after COVID, I was like, maybe I should not be so dogged in the pursuit of it if the world is just going to and
Yeah.
can easily do that again.
Yeah.
So I kind of reevaluated stand up to be more like a hobby, and then was still doing like medical records for that doctor, the eye doctor. And then my lovely now wife suggested, if you're so good at public speaking, why not just be a teacher? Because she's a teacher. And
And now he's molding the
now I'm
children
a
of the
teacher.
future.
And
And
I taught LSAT prep courses for a long time, law school admission test prep courses. So
nice.
yeah.
How was that?
It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was not a huge time commitment, paid pretty well, and you got to help people achieve their dreams of going to law school. Now, whether I still think uh, I'm not going to judge anyone's dreams, but they aren't my dreams anymore. You know.
Yeah, well, I don't like that. Capone
He's
did
not
more for the
completely
people than the government did. That's 100% accurate.
yeah, he's not wrong about that.
There are more good people than bad people. It's just that bad people kill the
Kill
people.
Good point.
I mean, you know what the problem is too is when you're like, "Hey, just don't treat me like garbage," and people are like, "Oh, I would never." And as soon as you turn your back, they're like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to treat you like garbage." You're like, "Why? Why? I didn't." There's no need. There's so much room for joy and opportunity for everybody, and people are like, "No, no, you can't have it." Why not? Why can't I have it, people? Why can't you have it? It's a great question.
I do think there's a whole generation of people that have experienced a pretty big rug pull. Then that
There's two
the
of them.
promise of go to college and get a degree, and that's all you need, right? Like that was the advice my parents gave me: go to college, get a
Same.
degree in anything,
Yeah.
and it won't matter, right? And sure, my life could be different if I didn't change careers and get out of law, but I'd rather be you know broke and miserable than just miserable and miserable. Like at least part of the time I get to do
Yeah.
something I love doing comedy.
Yeah, and like, um, I could see myself doing different things in education, but I think just the public speaking stuff really speaks to me. And
Yeah.
also, it's very interesting seeing like we're at the tail end of Gen Z right now, and I'm seeing what the counselors are telling the kids, and it's a little different than how it was for you and I, Josh, where when we were in high school, it was like just go to college, do anything, because this is before '08 or immediately following
Yeah.
after that. But they're like, if you do college, you'll be fine. This worked for like 50 years. And now what the counselors are telling the kids is, okay, college definitely can help in careers, but don't be so quick to take on loans. Community college is a great option and cheaper. Also, trade schools are cool. And I think being more pragmatic about that with the kids is also has them having a little more respect for knowing that because we got screwed too, they know that they're a little more trusting with maybe they won't get screwed as hard as we did.
Well, think about it though, like that. We've all heard that idea where people are like, "What, you want to be a garbage man when you grow up?" You're like, "Yeah, a garbage man makes 75
union pay, man, garbage man." Yeah.
Garbage man's a great job, and people are like, "Oh, what, you want to work in a trade?" What, I can actually do shit around the house. I can have hobbies that build stuff, have extra cash on the side, just be out of my own hobby and knowledge. Like, yeah, those are fantastic ideas. Are you kidding me? Like, and everyone's been backwards. You're like, "Oh, no, 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 you could just work in an office." You're like, "No, That is a horrible idea. Never work in the office. The office sucks. Okay.
Okay, now granted, the working from home thing, if that stuck more, I think that would be. But for some reason, you have jobs being like, we invested in real estate. We can't give up the office space. Everyone, come back to the office, please.
Yeah, you like honestly, like right now, I actually applied for my first job in forever. At
Really?
like, well, I applied it at a Lego store to be like one of the
Of
builders.
course you fucking would. Okay, yeah.
Okay, just randomly. So we were at a mall that's close by, and I was looking at Lego because we have points, and I'm like, I want to spend those points because I'm a greedy bitch. And sure enough, my wife is like, you should get a job here, and they're like, we are hiring, because I was just cracking wise the whole time, right? And I'm like, I love Lego. I'm like, Lego is happiness to me. Like, it's not like I love building it, and people are like, how do you have the patience for it? I'm like, are you kidding me? It's just one more way I'm looked down on other people. I'm like, wait, you don't have time for Lego? You make time for Lego, okay? It's the best thing about life. So yeah, I applied, and now I'm just like, I'm freaking out because it's been a week and I haven't heard anything, and I'm just like, ha 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 ha, I don't know what's happening. But like at the same time, I'm like, that's a dream job for me, because I just would just I'm like, I don't even care. They're like, oh, you have to deal with kids. Yeah, I don't care. The kids aren't bad. I'm like, I don't really, and also I'm scary. That's fine. I look like this. Kids aren't gonna come up to me and be like, oh, can I have your, can I just put my hands on you? No, they won't. They run away from me.
I
And
love
my
the
parents
idea.
like, yeah.
I love the idea of you taking the skills you learned in the haunted house, calling children sandwiches,
Yes.
and putting it to use.
That's exactly.
Store.
I'll tell you,
Mister,
like,
where are the Star Wars sets? Hello, sandwich.
Yeah, sandwich. Yeah, like that's the best part
Mommy!
about that. I worked in this haunted village for Halloween, Josh, and it was like, so people, like, you were supposed to be like, it was supposed to be for adults, but like people were bringing their kids, and I'm like, that's mental, because I'm like, I was in one of the mazes, and I'm like, bro, I would scare the shit out of adults. Like, there's no okay. Like, I definitely made a few people pee. I might have made a couple old guys shit themselves. Like, that's for sure. Right.
I
And
will
like,
say though, sometimes as a young kid, like scary things, because you don't have like the proper context for them, they're not like scary. They're almost funny. Like I saw Child's Play when I was pretty young, and I'm sure it screwed me up in a lot of ways that I don't realize.
yeah,
But like at the time, I thought it was fun because like the dolls coming to life. That's a cool thing, right? Sure, he happens to murder people, but he's still a
yeah,
living doll. That's neat, right?
it's wild. Yeah.
It's like
no, but that's
Boo and
like,
Monsters Inc., where like Sully is a scary big monster, and Boo's like Kitty.
Exactly.
yeah, and you're like,
Yeah.
like, so it is that is fine. The problem is, you may have realized, just Josh, I have this face, and they would put like blood coming out of my eyes, and like and it was just horrific. And I'm like, and then what I do is I just don't blink, and I just looking at them. I'm like, what? And then,
I mean, I don't have kids, but I wouldn't bring my cats. So
I mean, like, and the thing is, whenever kids would start coming closer, I'm like, I had a sandwich that looked like that, and they're just pointing at their face, and they're just like, what the fuck? Did you just call me a sandwich? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'll let you go free this time, but next time I'm making you a sandwich. They're like, yeah. They would freak the fuck out. I'm like, yeah, that's why you don't bring your children in here, you nutbags.
That kid's gonna hear someone talk about an open face sandwich and be terrified.
Why didn't you use the open face sandwich thing? That seems so like a layup of puns.
Never even thought about it. Honestly, it was a bank. Like, bro, I would have a lineup of kids, and I would call them all sandwiches. I'm like, oh, you're my Monday sandwich. You're my Tuesday sandwich. Oh, you look like a Saturday sandwich. You look like a brunch sandwich. And
just Jeffrey Dahmer doing meal prep,
bro. And people were free. I had one pair, bro. The worst thing that happened, okay, there was one good thing and one bad thing and one great thing. Okay, the worst part was I was like, I once had a sandwich that looked like you, and the mom grabbed the kid and was like, take him, and then walked away. I'm like, oh my god, you just abandon your child to the guy that said he would eat him like a sandwich, and like you saw it in the kid's face, like he understood how shit of a mom he has, and I'm like, bro, that's
Oh my
so
god, I'm
sad.
gonna be in therapy until my 40s.
Like no, he's like, I'm alone in this world. Like that boy is gonna be a billionaire because he's like, I'm alone. I have no one. My mom just threw me to a monster. Not even a real monster, just some guy, right? Like, yeah, that
He
was the
just
worst.
listens to productivity podcasts and weeps. He
Yeah.
doesn't know why. Yeah.
Jordan Peterson, comfort me.
Bro, that's a full-time Jordan Peterson job. Like that's
yeah.
not, yeah. You need full mental conditioning. Okay. Yeah. It was that like, and there was one, I really screwed over this little kid. So there was a little boy who he was Asian, and he had a bunch of sisters, and his sisters were very afraid, but he was like, no, I don't care, I could do whatever I want, and he ran past me. And then all the other people came, and I'm like, and the girls were really scared. I'm like, you seem like you're the bravest. I pointed to the smallest one. And he goes, no, I'm the bravest. I'm like, no, he just ran away. He abandoned you. Brothers don't abandon their sisters. That's why I think you're the bravest. To the littlest girl. And she's like, I am the bravest. I'm like, then you go first. And she's like, no, I'm going to walk through first. And I go, see, she's the bravest. And she's like, I'm brave. And she just yelled it in her brother's face. And I was like, oh, fuck that little bastard. I'm like, oh, I just made him feel this small. It was great. I felt so good. Just as the youngest of 5, it really brought me to a lot of joy for horrible reasons. But it was worth it.
Hey,
You know?
I'm the youngest child as well. I get it.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah,
Oh.
you got to fight up. You got to fight for those that can't fight for themselves, motherfucker.
Look, it's not even that. It's like you are the character that showed up on season 5 of an already existing show, and everyone else knows more than you and like has all the cards. So you got to do stupid shit.
Yeah, that's fair though. But that's where, like, bro, I made one girl was like, you want to have a staring contest? And I'm like, I'd already been not blinking for a minute. And I'm like,
what kind of Judge Doom shit is this? How were you able to keep your eyes open that long?
Oh, just pure willpower, bro. To the point where I'm going, hey, nothing's happening. I'm just staring into your soul. And I'm like, it is brutal. And then she just starts crying. Just tears are just coming down her face. She's like, why aren't you crying? She's like, what is wrong with your face? And I'm like, it's just my face. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, nothing. You started it. I was just looking. What do you want me to do? I'm like, it was the greatest job. I'm like, I could just stare at people and they couldn't say shit. And they just had to be uncomfortable. It was so much fun for me because I'm like, I just like looking at shit. So I'll just look at you. Yeah. Now you got to walk by me. Good luck. I'm also covered in barbed wire and have a sledgehammer. What's up? That's fine. Just have a little blood coming from my eyes. Yeah.
You were also drowning cartoon shoes in vats of benzene.
I mean,
sorry, I watched that movie
recently
too.
I could have been the judge. There's no question. I could have, you know, all for the real estate prospect. Makes sense.
What was your first like shit job? Like the job you got as a teenager?
So, for me, I worked off and on bagging groceries and as a cashier at Best Buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best Buy is that sucks. Groceries, I'm like, I feel like you'd be able to have a little chit chat with people and maybe it'd be fun, you know?
I didn't mind it, you know. We carried people's groceries out to the car for them still if they requested it. We were one of those places. So you get to go outside every now and then, you know, chill. A lot going on. It was, I liked it.
Have a smoke, go back inside.
I think this. I'm not sure how these stories of scaring children will help
Will
your
help
Lego
your Lego
application.
application.
I will bring order to Lego. No, that's not. That's not it.
I'm Lego
I,
Batman.
I just won't. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stay out of Gotham. That's fine. I got this. Yeah. Yeah. No. I worked for my father's machine shop, and that was for me a horrible job because I'm a horrible machinist. So my job was just to clean up after everybody else, and I hate. And like I'm good at organizing, and I love tinkering. I'm not a good machinist though. I'm more of a mechanic, I guess you could say, in that fashion. And my dad's like, yeah, we don't need one of those. So yeah, get the fuck out of here. So it was great. Then I became a banker. Yay. No. But I did, I worked, at the so I guess it would be, I guess like the parts department at Walmart, maybe like that kind of like it was Canadian Tire. So it's like Canadian Tires owns AutoZone, right? So it's like a full mechanic shop. So I would work the parts counter. That was, but I enjoyed that a lot. Like I was just like, it's just a fun job. I
Yeah,
was
it
like,
seems like it'd be a pretty chill job, you know?
like I had to load up, I had to fill because I was the low man on the totem pole. I had to do oil, so all the wall of oil, I had to restock it as best I could, and then I had to bring out like cases and cases of windshield washer fluid and shit like that. But I'm like, okay, like no big deal. Like I was just like, it's just a job. I didn't give a shit, right? So and then I would just fucking hang out at the counter and be like, yeah, whatever. That's the first time I heard somebody said something about a part for a car, and they're like, why would you do that? That's like perfume on a pig. And I was like, what the fuck did you just say? He's like, perfume on a pig. The waste. I was like, delicious. I'm taking that.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I
Yeah.
think I've heard that one. There's a lot of pig associated sayings, right?
I've heard lipstick on a pig.
Lipstick on a pig.
Lipstick on a pig. Yeah. Perfume on a pig.
Pearls before swine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all there. It's just, and this was bacon. Just understand. So this was like 97 when I heard it, and I heard this from like a 40-year-old, no, probably 50-year-old man, and I was like, "The fuck did you just say?" It was wild. Blew my mind.
Discount all the racist stuff. Southern old people have the best sayings. No doubt.
Probably. Yeah.
Listen, I
a hog in a waistcoat is still a hog. That's a good one.
I've known you since you were knee high to a grasshopper.
Good one.
Come on.
Fun one. When pigs fly.
Hotter than two rats fucking in a wool sock.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
The kid who ran away now manages the Lego store. I mean, there you go.
Let's see. 50 of the best Southern sayings. I'm just looking this up for fun.
Horrible.
That dog won't hunt or ain't gonna hunt.
Yeah.
That is heartbreaking though too. Let's be honest. That's like,
okay. Some of these are like they put y'all. That's not a saying. That's a word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Don't criticize. Just run with it.
Well, actually, here's a question. Is a contraction technically a saying, right? Because it's more than one word, right? It is a word. It's a class of word. But they're all technically phrases, right?
In this episode of Lawyer versus English Teacher, we're gonna find out is y'all a saying or y'all just a word.
You want to talk about people who can argue about the meaning of a word? A lawyer and an English teacher.
Josh, we gotta do that meme where it's like the two people dancing to Blue Order Blue Monday by New Order with the and then you do like a punch on each thing. Is y'all a word or is y'all an expression?
that is top tier TikTok. Written by Dino the Genetic Marvel right there. Okay, come on. That is, bro. That would be. I would watch the shit out of that discussion. And I'm telling you, there would be no winners, just survivors who got to the end of the conversation. That's it.
That's how philosophy degrees are too. No, I got one, and it's just there's no answers. It's just did you get to the end?
Did you bullshit your final paper well enough?
Okay,
Yes.
so I was having this discussion with Kyle, and we were talking about how I'm like, you can't learn philosophy. You have to philosophize your way into thought. Like it's not. And you're like, no, you just teach people how to think. You're like, no, you have to give them a reason to learn how they think, and that's how you move forward. And it burns my ass when people are like, I study philosophy. You're like, you read a book. Shut your goddamn whore mouth. It's aggressive. I have a
There,
problem with it.
there's a guy on Twitter that said soon students will have conversations with Aristotle, Socrates, or Plato rather than just reading about them. This is how AI is revolutionizing education, which is stupid. And then I was like, dude, Socrates was so annoying to talk to, they killed him.
Yeah.
Like
more people voted to execute him than voted to convict him.
Yeah. They were like, he's not doing anything wrong, but oh my god, shut the fuck up. You're so annoying.
Well,
Die.
so they apparently when they convicted him and they asked him what he thought his punishment should be, and he suggested free lunch for life at the Lyceum, I believe. And more people voted to execute him than voted to convict him, partially because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
the balls on that guy must have been just at the forefront of his everything, like just the massive balls to be
this
like,
is your culture, you know.
I know.
Well,
Hey,
you really look into old time philosophers, Greek philosophers especially. They were trolls. They were internet trolls
yes.
who were just annoying the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Diogenes with the chicken. Behold, a man.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm telling you, we fuck with ourselves the most. And I was explaining this I explained this on stage the other week. I did a set. It was called Multicultural Madness, and it's just he wanted all like stuff relevant to your own culture, and I'm like, that's fine, I can do that, right? And one of the jokes was learning for the first time about how creative swearing is in Greek, because I'm like, there's a word that you would refer to someone who's a homosexual. Now, some people are like, well, that's kind of a bad word. It's kind of a slur. And you're like, okay, you don't want to do that. But then old people show up and then they will find another way. And the other way is they go, hey, he's a guy who likes to party from the back. And I'm like, so it's one word is a back partier. And I'm like,
Greek sayings versus Southern sayings. Let's go.
I mean, and I'm like, bro, that's he likes to party from the back. You know what this means? And you're just like, oh my god, that is absolutely heinous. At the same time, the creativity is there's no fat on that new saying. You're like,
to party from the back.
Party from the back, and you're like, bro, that is a full joke, you know? And I'm like, that's top tier humor, bro.
It's a different cultural contribution than the Parthenon, but it's a cultural contribution nonetheless.
I mean, you ain't gonna build that and not come away with some good jokes, bro. Like that much construction work, you're like, you get to hear the top.
That's actually a great point.
Like, listen, the longer you're on a site together with guys, they got to come up, they got to start bringing up their A game, and they're like, no, man, I'm gonna be that funny guy. Like, bro. Okay, just by the way, so I was in Florida a few weeks ago, and we went live and a couple times. But one of the neighbors was a friend of my mom's, and she came to visit, and so I started talking, and I just started, cracking wise as I do, and my mom referred to me as her funny guy, and I was like, oh, I'm the funny one. I win. And it was so glorious that I was like, bro, every one of us cracked jokes, but I'm her funny guy. And I'm telling you, that was rewarding. It was a rewarding experience, I'll tell you.
My sister took improv classes one time, and I was like kind of galled because I was like, but I'm the funny one. You got it. You're the one who's making all the money and like being successful. Go do that. Like,
yeah. The worst part is improv, weird times people laugh. And I'm like, I don't understand improv because people laugh at weird times, and I don't understand what they're laughing at, and that makes me feel very self-conscious. I'm like, wait, no, I know what's funny. I'm like, I can admit it's not for me funny, but that still can be funny, right? So I'm like, but it's confusing. And some people fake laugh. They're like, ha 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 ha, ha. And I'm like, why are you doing that? I don't understand. It wasn't even that. That wasn't a good joke. It was very, very difficult. I don't know.
Improv is always interesting to me because I think it has a wider like range quality than stand up. Like I think the best improv is generally better than some good stand up,
Yeah.
but the worst
Yeah.
improv is
way
the
worse.
worst live theater experience you'll ever
Oh,
have.
yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Hey, good
Higher
improv
ceiling,
is
lower floor. You know.
yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
it like good improv. I absolutely agree with you. Is wild and so enjoyable, and but yeah, bad improv. You're like, I'd rather die. I'd rather die. Just fully. Just I don't. It's very confusing, and especially when people don't catch a drift, like they just. You're like, I'm gonna lay this up. It's yours. It's yours. I'm giving this gift to you, and they just like no, and you're like, what? Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it again. I'll do it again a different way. Maybe make it different. Lay it up, and like, no, don't want to be funny. And you're like, why would you do that? Why would you not like nothing? No, like that's easy. It's just it's very confusing.
You know what's funny is that's what ended up making my sister stop. Was she couldn't deal with bombing. Like
Oh,
she's like my perfect, but when I do things, they're supposed to succeed, right? And no, fuck.
bro,
You
I've
you
seen
hope.
people
Well, because
right
also
like
improv bombing is so much more painful to the people on stage than stand-up bombing.
I mean, yeah. It's definitely it see I definitely feel like you can't like improv can go any way and you won't really know what's gonna hit, right? Like because I've seen people drop top tier material and eat all the shit, all of it.
Oh yeah,
And you're like, yo, that is a handcrafted, like perfect joke. Nothing. And I'm like, yo, I'm like, you're a bunch of dirty bitches. As you don't even know how to laugh. Like I was appalled that because like it was an entire night where every comedian just had to eventually get to sex humor and they progressively got faster. Like they would get there faster because they would try a few jokes. Nothing. All right. I saw a guy fuck a dog once, and they're like, ah, and you're like, that's not a funny joke. It's
I,
not. It's not.
I've
But
been on stand-up shows like that before, like bar shows in particular, where
yeah,
you're doing your act and you're not really getting them. They're all right, not terrible. So you're not
yeah.
eating it, but then you get off and somebody goes up and they start doing dirty stuff and they just come alive and you're like, why didn't I think of that? That's what they wanted. I should have, but
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's and you like I always try and do like I'll do 40 to 60% of stuff I know is funny. And then I'll always try and incorporate another 40, like depending on how I'm feeling. Like if I'm reading the crowd and things are going well, I'm like it'll be 60% new stuff just on the fly, right?
Yeah.
That's how I used to do. I'm like, you would never hear the same set. I would always be testing an order, changing things up, leading into things differently, different tag, different this, different that. Also because I can't remember shit. I'm like, I just remember the general bits of it. I'm like, yeah, I'm funny. I'm
Have
like,
you guys
yeah.
ever done a show where the problem isn't like particularly bar shows where there's just too much stuff going on in the bar?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
so a couple weeks ago I was on a show where not only is it a very like large room, it looked kind of like if you just put a bar in a warehouse almost. So as we know, stand up benefits in very large spread out spaces where the speaker system doesn't really get everywhere. On top of
Yeah.
that, behind the comic on stage, because there was going to be like a rave after, they had the DJ booth and these like billboards that had like constantly rotating set of images so that you're washed out against the background.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have no, yeah.
And then there's
that's
like
much worse.
weed vendors and caterers and the bar. So like nobody's sitting in the audience in general. You have to like be on a swivel to try and get everyone's attention.
The worst I had for that was the Raptors. So I'm in Toronto. We have the Raptors. It was the playoffs.
Your team sucks, by the way.
I don't care.
Okay, just say.
So the guy was like, okay, we're going to have the show after the game. And I go, hey, man, I don't think that's a good idea because if they win, they don't want to see comedy. And if they lose, they really don't want to see comedy. And he goes, no, it's fine. And he goes, oh, we'll just turn. They went into overtime. And they're like, yeah, we'll just turn it off. I'm like, no, man, you can't do that. Because people fucking lose their shit. And he's just like, no, it's cool. I'm like, no, it's not. And he goes, the one guy who was like crazy into it, and he was like also seated closest to the stage. And they was like, hey, do you mind if we turn these off so we can have a comedy show? He's like, shut the fuck up, man. And don't even think about turning off the TV. And he's going, yeah, what are you going to do? Also, the guy looked like he was going to shoot somebody. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I'm going to wait to tell my jokes. And even then, and that guy was like, man, shut the fuck up. Even after the game finished. And he was like, all right, we're going to start some comedy in 5 minutes. Nope, that's a bad idea. That guy stomped on everyone's set.
Yeah, Jimmy down in the comments says pool tables. That's another, like where you get the crack right on someone's punchline. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A bowling alley too. Like I've never been to a pool hall or a bowling alley, and they're like, we're gonna have comedy there. I'm like, that's a stupid idea. No,
open mics are fine, but like full on shows where you're trying to like, all right, these are 10-minute sets. You're trying to like get into the spiel.
In all honesty, I feel like you just have to try and be funny a little bit. Like that's the one thing now that I don't have, because I would walk onto stage, and every time I would get on stage, I'd be like, I'm tired. And I'm like, I'm 500 pounds. Of course I'm fucking tired. Yeah. And then I'm like, it was the second stare. I'm like, that's I'm like, bro, that's a great joke. And I'm like, it doesn't matter where I was. There could be no step. And I'd be like, it was that one step.
Yeah.
and everyone's like, oh, we're gonna go there, are we? And I'm like, oh, we're hanging out there. Don't worry. I got a lot of fat people stories. And now I'm like, I can't do them because people are like, you're not fat enough to do those jokes. And I'm like, listen, I earned that shit. Okay. I earned it. And like I have, my knees are still paying for it. So fuck you people. Okay.
I was thinking, what's the best place to have a comedy show? And I'm thinking a meat locker. So it's cold, so everyone stays awake, everyone's packed in together, and you don't have other stuff going on. You can only watch the comedy show. Meat locker comedy. Let's make it happen.
I mean, that sounds like a variation of a Saw movie, like just first person to laugh gets murdered. You're like, what is happening? And then you have people who are actually funny go up and just start dropping heat, and you're just like, no, don't make us laugh. If we laugh, we die. And you're like, nah.
Norm Macdonald on Weekend Update. No,
bro, I would just start hammering people out. I'm like, no, you would get the best comedy out of me if it meant that it would be like a pecking order of who's gonna die first. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm making sure nobody survives. Like, and the one thing I was so proud of myself for was I would go to open mics where I knew it was only going to be comics, and I would still bring new shit and get them all to laugh. And I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm here. You're gonna listen to my material, or else I'm gonna fucking ruin your day. And I would just hammer at them until I got them laughing. And I'm like, all right, don't threaten me with a good time. Oh, I don't want to laugh. Like I remember, I was like, I might ruin the night, but I really need to say a joke. And the guy's like, who's not going to ruin? I'm like, those two chicks like have been talking during they were sitting really close to the stage and nonstop were talking over the comedian. And I was like, I'm gonna ruin their night. And he's like, I don't give a shit. They've ordered like one drink. Just fuck them. And then I walked on stage and I was like, what's up, Forever 41? And they're like,
Oh.
the fuck did you just say? And I'm like, I said you look like Forever 41. Is it 51? I can't tell. There's a lot of red light in here. It's disguising your face. You got any moles on your face? And then it's like, fuck you, bro. And I'm like, that's fine. There's the door. Eat shit, Forever 41. And just, I was relentless with that shit. And I have zero regrets about it. Because I'm like, I'm sorry. You ruined so many people's sets. It's just rude.
Yeah. I've been lucky for the most part. I haven't had too many times with hecklers since early on when I was emceeing at clubs, it would happen, but that's always a weird spot because you can't really address it. You have to let the feature headliner do it because if you do it and do it poorly, they're going to be pissed at you for fucking the show up. But yeah.
Yeah. No. You're there to keep it funny. You're not there to defend yourself, right?
Yeah.
If anything, I would lean into it, be like, "You're fat," but like, I'm so fat, bro. You should see me on an airplane. I got to fucking waddle all the way through. It's fucking ridiculous. You're like, I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
Now I go on an airplane, people want to talk to me. Ugh, disgusting. Horrible.
Yeah. Jobs. We're supposed to talk about. I guess we're talking about comedy, which is kind of a job.
It's kind
but,
of a job, yeah. And you remember being on the show where the topic often gets yeeted out the window about 10 minutes in. We managed to stay on topic pretty well this time.
Yeah.
We have. Yeah.
I feel so. Yeah. We definitely have.
Yeah.
Oh, I never said what my first like shitty job was.
Yeah, what was your shitty job?
I'm curious.
My very first job was as a dog groomer, and by a groomer I mean the not actually like cutting dogs' hair. I mean like just washing them.
Okay.
Which is worse.
And also expressing the butthole glands.
I was going to say, did you have to do the
teach
glands?
you how to do?
Yep. Oh.
Mm-hmm. The thing that made me quit was there was a woman who was an absolute like Karen. Like she was like in her 70s. She was Karening when the universe was young and the Cambrian explosion had not yet happened. She was being a Karen.
Okay.
She had these two
Karen, first of her name. It's okay.
Karen, first of her name. She had these two bulldogs who were old, and like one of them looked like you know how Muhammad Ali had cauliflower ear.
Yeah,
kind of looked like that, just like a big raspberry on the ear.
Yeah.
So you had to be super, super careful, making sure not to like touch it too much, but you still had to clean the wound. And I was like, these dogs, just put them out of their misery. They can barely, breathe as it is. But no, everything had to be just so. And after like twice of dealing with her, after the second time, I'm like, I'm out. Can't do this anymore. So
really,
yeah. What's
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go. Well, I was gonna say, what's the like shortest job you guys have ever had, like that you've ever stayed at a job?
I worked at the Santa Monica Mirror, the local paper of my neighborhood, for a summer. That was it.
All right.
One summer. Wow.
One summer.
I mean,
I think there's videos I've done for them that are still out there. So if anyone wants to go find them, post them below if you found them.
Why do you just like, hey, I'm gonna throw caution to the wind and let fate decide? You're like, bro, you just got your face put on all sorts of videos. Be like, is this it, Atlas? Is this it, Atlas?
My students already found the music video I was in with Dominic Harris and Alex Negri.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, which I feel like, if anything, was, as you would call it, your biopic.
No.
No, that's fine. That's a funny video though.
It is. No, I stand by it. I'm not like, oh, I'm not hitting them up like you need to delete it. It has over 2 million views. Come on, that's yeah. What about you?
I worked for Target for 2 weeks here in Los Angeles until I got my current job working for a legal newspaper. Yeah.
Whoa. So was it like you got the job that didn't suck as much, so you were like aces, or did something? Did you like what happened?
So yeah, I had been out of work post COVID and needed something, so I got hired on at Target, seasonal with potential for a permanent position. And
Spicy.
then yeah, the first week I was there, I got contacted about an interview for the new job. Went in on one of my days off, did the interview, and gave didn't even give notice. I was like, I start tomorrow. I'm out. And
Yeah.
so I'm no longer eligible for employment at the Target Corporation. But
Oh no.
you know, I know.
Yeah.
Well, when they own
That's
everything, I'll be real upset. But till then,
Oh no. Target is not high on the totem pole, sir. It is a
no,
very
yeah.
low. It is one of the front-facing organizations. It's not bad.
I'd never burn a bridge with Amazon because they're gonna.
Yeah, no, that's
but-
different. That's yeah. That is fully integrated, sir. Yeah,
yeah.
you don't want to be on their bad side. They're so nice over there, and their return policies
but
are great.
I like retail work. You know, it's it doesn't have the tipping that service workers get, but there's a lot of downtime where you do just get to chill with people, and most retail workers are pretty chill people.
Yeah, I think the best retail jobs are the ones where the manager also doesn't give a fuck and is like, none of this. You got time to lean. You got time to clean shit. Like I worked at a costume store in high school. That was kind of like that, where she owned the place and she was like, look, as long as we can find whatever it is we're gonna find, and you're reasonably nice to the customers, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
And most of the money that came in was doing the costumes for like the schools in the area for their plays. So like during different like certain parts of the year, it'd be like a grind because you have to. Okay, we got to set all this up for like a chorus line or whatever they're doing. But other times you just have like slow stuff. It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if only retail was enough to make a living like it used to be.
Right.
I'm hoping it is. Bro. I already asked them. I was like, what pay would you expect? And I'm like, I don't know, $20 an hour. I'm like, does that seem? That seems if it's retail work, right? But it's also like my dream job, so I'm like, I'm happy to.
As long as you and Victoria can like live on that, then whatever.
That's the thing is, I don't have many desires, and most of them are Lego based. So
yeah,
like. I'm pretty like I'm
most
like
of the
yeah,
money you'd be blowing on Legos, you can just get like, all right, here instead of a pizza party, they make like a Lego.
Hilariously, in the application, they're like, yo, you can buy Lego at our discount like immediately as soon as you're hired, but like your insurance takes a couple months, but you can buy Lego immediately. You're like, well, don't worry, we know why you're applying because Lego is the best. And yeah, it's I mean, bro, there's no. And there's like new Lego out right now, and I'm like, I need my fix. I need my fix, and I'm like, listen, I'll work for you, Mr. Lego Man. Please give me a job. I'll be great for you. And that's like, bro, if they're like, you need to dust all the Lego, I'm like, I'll dust the Lego. That's fine. I'm like, I will cherish the Lego. And then you got to build it. Like, I'm in. You know,
you're getting high on your own supply. Do you know it's gonna be a problem?
It's gonna be a real problem because even my wife right now is like, yo, we don't have the space for all this Lego. I'm like, listen, we'll make the space, okay? We have space for her shoes. We have space for my
you're gonna owe your soul to the company store, and it's gonna be the Lego store.
I mean, like the funniest part was Dino got more and more southern as he was like doing his little impression. Like I'll get busy right now, Mr. Lego Man. I'll be like busy as hot as a cat on a hot tin roof or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I mean. that is definitely on the table. Like, yeah, I have no problem. It's like honestly and hilariously, like this is a mall that's close by, and then the head office for Canada is actually close to my wife's work. So I'm like, listen, I'm in. Like, don't threaten me with a good time. And then even I have Kyle was like, oh, that means you're like. Your memoirs can be like the house that Lego built, and I'm like, bro, I love it. I'm in. You know,
that's a good.
I will have it. It's like I know, but that's why I'm like I love building Lego because I'm just a mental case. So why not? I don't know.
All
Here's hoping. That'll be my new career. So exciting.
So for people who enjoyed the episode, leave a like or a comment down below, or rate it on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you are listening this to. Apparently, you can watch things on refrigerators now, so go check it out on your refrigerator.
You need milk. You need milk. Just
Yeah. Follow us at Generation Dan on all the social medias. Josh, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Atlas. Thanks for having me, Dino. It was good to talk to you guys again.
Also, let's just be honest. Fuck you for having Ogle as your tag. I love it. I love it, and I hate you so much for having it. I'm jealous.
Thank
I'm 100%
consistent
jealous.
across all social media, in case anyone's wondering.
Oh yeah, at Ogle everywhere.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I hate you so much.
How about you,
dirty
Dino?
prick. I just got Dino the genetic mofo. No, me.
Well, that's one way to do it. You can follow me at Atlas Novak, all the places. My other podcast with Cole Clayton, who showed up a second ago in the comments, is Last Minute History. If you are subscribed to Generation Dan on your podcast app of choice, you will also get Last Minute History. And also on the channel, you can check it out there. Or you can check out my other podcast, Nexus at Night, which is about a trading card game called Vanguard. If that's not your bag, I completely understand. And that was pretty much it. So thanks everybody for listening.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, folks.
Later.